All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to... So glad you're here, folks. You are not going to believe what we have cooked up for you today. We're talking about the President of the United States, good old Joe Biden. Now, being president, that's a tough gig, probably the toughest. You're always on camera, always under scrutiny. And sometimes things get a little awkward. We've all been there, right? You trip, you say the wrong thing, it happens. But when you're the president, oh boy, it's on a whole other level, a global level. Today we are diving headfirst, maybe even stumbling headfirst into the top 10 most embarrassing, most cringeworthy, most did that really just happen? Moments from Joe Biden's presidency. We're talking the gaffes, the stumbles, literal stumbles, you guys, the mic whispers that sounded like he was telling secrets to a ghost. It's all in here. This is the stuff that makes you cover your eyes but peek through your fingers because you just can't look away. It's like watching a reality show, but the main character is the leader of the free world. You won't want to miss a single one of these. Trust me on this. Now, before anyone gets their political pants in a twist, let me be super clear. This isn't about politics, okay? We're not picking sides. We're not making grand statements. Nope. This is all about good old-fashioned cringe, the universal language of oof. We're here for the laughs, the second-hand blushes, the moments that made the internet absolutely lose its collective mind. We're going to count them down from 10 all the way to the number one spot. So grab your popcorn, maybe a stress ball, because some of these are truly something else. It's pure, unadulterated awkwardness served up fresh. So get ready, buckle up. We're about to embark on a journey through some truly unforgettable presidential bloopers. Let's count them down, folks. And maybe, just maybe, try not to second-hand blush too hard, though I can't make any promises on that front. I'm already feeling a little flushed just thinking about some of these. It's going to be a wild ride, a roller coaster of, oh, Joe moments. Are you ready? I know I am. Let's get into it. This is Ranked and Revealed. All right, kicking off our list at number 10, or well, technically our first blunder in this countdown. It's a classic. Picture this, March 2021. President Biden, he's heading somewhere important, as presidents do. He's about to board Air Force One, the big, beautiful plane. You know the scene, the red carpet, the crisp salute from the Marine at the bottom of the stairs. It's all very official, very presidential. He gives a little wave, looking sharp, ready to jet off and do important presidential things. What could possibly go wrong with just walking up some stairs, right? Famous last words, folks. So he starts his climb. 1 step, 2 steps, looking good, looking confident. The cameras are rolling, of course they always are. He's got that presidential swagger, or at least he's trying to. And then it happens. The first little stumble, just a little whoopsie, a slight misstep. You see it and you think, okay, caught himself, no big deal. Happens to the best of us, right? Maybe the wind picked up, maybe the carpet was a little loose. We're all trying to find an excuse for him because it's just a bit awkward, you know? But wait, there's more. Oh, there is so much more. Just as you're breathing a sigh of relief, thinking the minor blip is over, he goes for it again. Another step and then, bam, stumble number 2. This one's a bit more pronounced, a little less oopsie and a little more whoa there. Now you're starting to lean in. You're thinking, is he okay? What is happening with these stairs? Are they trick stairs? Did someone butter the steps? The suspense is building, folks. It's like watching a movie where you know something's about to happen. And then, just when you thought it was safe to look away, he delivers the grand finale, the 3rd stumble. Yes, a triple. Not 1, not 2, but 3 stumbles on his way up the stairs of Air Force One. This one, he actually goes down to a knee a little bit. It's the hat trick of tumbles, the trifecta of trips. He finally makes it to the top, gives a salute, and disappears into the plane, probably hoping no one really noticed. But oh, we noticed, Joe. The internet noticed. The world noticed. It was quite the entrance, or rather quite the ascent. So, President Biden finally makes it onto Air Force One after his little adventure with the staircase. He's inside, maybe catching his breath, maybe asking if those stairs are new. But outside, the internet was just waking up, stretching and saying, hold my coffee. The moment those stumbles happened, you just knew. You knew it was going to be everywhere. It was like a starting gun for meme creators around the globe. They were probably rubbing their hands together with glee, thinking, this is gold, Jerry, gold! And boy, did they deliver. Within minutes, maybe even seconds, the clips were circulating. Slow-motion replays from every conceivable angle. You had the dramatic music overlays, the sound effects, a little bowing here, a whoops there. People were adding commentary, sports announcer style. He's going for the triple Lutz and he nails it. It was a comedic free-for-all. The internet, folks, it's an undefeated champion when it comes to this stuff. It takes no prisoners, especially when a public figure has a very public, very relatable, yet very amplified fall from grace. Or, a fall upstairs. It wasn't just the fall itself, it was that really sent it into the stratosphere. One stumble? Okay, that's forgivable, maybe a little embarrassing. 2 stumbles? All right, now we're paying attention. This is getting interesting, but 3 stumbles in a row. That's commitment, that's dedication to the bit, even if it wasn't intentional. It was like he was saying, you thought that was it? Oh no, I've got more. It instantly unlocked legendary meme stats. You couldn't scroll for 5 minutes without seeing it. The thing is, presidents are supposed to be these bastions of stability, of smooth operation. And then you see the commander-in-chief fighting a losing battle with a simple staircase, and it's just funny, it's humanizing in a way, but also just incredibly ripe for comedy. The White House tried to say it was windy, which, okay, maybe it was a little breezy, but the internet's diagnosis, the stairs were clearly auditioning for a role in a slapstick comedy. And Joe Biden was their unwilling co-star. The replays were endless, truly endless. So why did this particular moment, these 3 little trips, become such a... people trip all the time, right? I've tripped walking onto this very stage probably more times than I can count. But this was different. This was the President of the United States boarding Air Force One, a symbol of American power and prestige. And there he is, battling gravity one step at a time, and gravity seems to be winning, at least for a few seconds. The symbolism was just too rich to ignore. It was a visual metaphor waiting to happen. Of course, it also played into certain narratives. People were already talking about his age, his fitness, and this incident, fairly or unfairly, became Exhibit A for some folks. It's like you're trying to project strength and vigor, and then the stairs just say, not today, pal, it's tough, because it's such a visual thing. It's not like misstating a policy, it's a physical blunder that everyone can see and immediately understand. And because it happened not once, not twice, but 3 times, it felt more significant, more like a pattern than a fluke, even if it was just a really bad moment. And let's be honest, there's a certain schadenfreude, a little bit of glad that wasn't me, but also a deep relatability. Who hasn't had an ungraceful moment? Who hasn't tripped when they thought no one was looking, only to realize was looking? Now imagine that, but you're the president, and everyone looking means literally billions of people around the world. The stakes are just a tad higher. It's that combination of high office and common mishap that makes it so compelling and, yes, so incredibly funny to so many. Ultimately, this stair saga unlocked instant meme status because it was so perfectly comically, visually representative of a moment of vulnerability. It was short, it was looped endlessly, and it required no explanation. You saw it, you got it, you probably chuckled. It became a go-to reference, a shorthand for a presidential oopsie. And let's face it, in the grand theatre of politics, sometimes the unscripted, unplanned stumbles are the moments that stick with us the most, for better or for worse. This one definitely stuck. All right, moving on to our next blunder. And this one, folks, this one is a real yikes moment. We're talking about September 2022. President Biden is at a White House conference. And it's not just any conference, it's a conference on hunger, nutrition and health. A very serious topic, very important stuff. He's up there giving his speech, probably thanking people, acknowledging dignitaries, the usual presidential address kind of thing. You expect a certain level of preparedness, a certain awareness, especially at an event like this, right? So he's speaking and he decides to give some shout-outs to lawmakers who were involved in the initiative, a nice gesture, right? Acknowledging the people who did the work. He's scanning the room, looking for familiar faces, and then he pauses. He's looking for someone specific. He leans into the microphone and with all the sincerity in the world, he asks, "Jackie, are you here? Where's Jackie?" He's genuinely looking around, as if expecting her to wave from the audience. You can almost hear the crickets starting to chirp. Now, in a normal situation, if someone you're looking for isn't there, it's no big deal. Maybe they're running late, maybe they stepped out, but this was not a normal situation. The Jackie he was referring to was Congresswoman Jackie Walorski of Indiana. And the problem, the very big, very awkward problem, was that Congresswoman Walorski had tragically passed away in a car accident just a few weeks prior to this event. We're not talking years ago. We're talking, it was recent, it was shocking, and it was all over the news. So when he's asking, "Where's Jackie?" you can imagine the collective intake of breath in that room, the confusion on people's faces. Some probably thought, "Wait, did I miss something? Is there another Jackie?" Others who knew exactly who he meant were probably just frozen, thinking, oh no, he didn't just say that, did he? It was one of those moments where time seems to slow down, and the silence in the room probably felt deafening, a genuine search for someone who simply couldn't be there. The tragic context here is what elevates this from a simple gaffe to a truly monumental blunder. Congresswoman Jackie Walorski, along with two of her staffers, had died in early August 2022. It was a terrible tragedy, and there had been an outpouring of condolences, including, by the way, from President Biden himself. He had even issued a statement mourning her passing and ordered flags to be flown at half-staff. So this wasn't a case of him not knowing who she was or not being aware of her passing at some point. The irony was just painful. Here they are at a conference dedicated to hunger, an issue Congresswoman Walorski had championed. In fact, the event was partly to honor her work and the bipartisan efforts on this very issue. So, for him to then ask for her whereabouts, as if expecting her to be present, was just baffling and deeply uncomfortable for everyone involved. It's like forgetting the guest of honor at a memorial service is, well, the reason for the service. It's a level of disconnect that's hard to process, especially on such a public stage. You could almost feel the collective yikes emanating from the room, through the television screens, across the internet. It's that full-body cringe, the one where you want to disappear into your chair. Imagine being a staffer in that moment. Your heart probably just dropped into your stomach. What do? How do you recover from that? The awkward silence that likely followed must have felt like an eternity. It's a mistake that hangs in the air, heavy and undeniable, because of the sensitivity and the sadness surrounding her recent death. This wasn't just about forgetting a name or getting a fact wrong. This was about a lapse in memory concerning a significant tragic event involving a public figure, a colleague in government, at an event that was, in spirit, connected to her legacy. It highlighted a lack of awareness in that specific moment that was, to put it mildly, quite jarring. So what was the fallout from this? How do you even begin to explain something like that? The immediate reactions were, as you can imagine, a mix of confusion, shock, and a whole lot of sympathy for everyone who had to witness it or hear about it. The White House press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, had the unenviable task of trying to clarify the situation. She suggested that the president was merely acknowledging the Congresswoman's incredible work, and that she was top of mind for him. That's one way to put it, I guess. But for many, that explanation didn't quite cut it. Top of mind usually means you're thinking them, not actively looking them as if they're physically present when you know they've passed. Was it an honest mistake, perhaps? The human brain is a funny thing, and memory can be tricky even for presidents. But for a sitting president at a public event directly related to the deceased's work, not remembering such a recent and significant tragedy is, well, it's rough. It's more than just a slip of the tongue. It felt like a more profound lapse. The incident certainly fueled ongoing discussions and concerns about President Biden's acuity and fitness for office. Whether those concerns are fair or not, moments like these provide ammunition. It's hard to watch something like that and not wonder what's going on. It's the kind of gaffe that sticks, because it's not just about policy or politics. It's about basic human awareness and sensitivity in a very public forum. It's one thing to forget a statistic, it's another to seemingly forget a person's recent passing, especially someone you're supposed to be honoring. This "Where's Jackie?" moment became another one of those indelible Biden blunders. It was played on repeat, analyzed and criticized from all sides. It's a stark reminder that in the high-stakes world of the presidency, every word, every action is scrutinized. And when a mistake is made, especially one that touches on such a sensitive subject as a recent death, It's very, very difficult to shake off. It just hangs there, a testament to a moment where things went undeniably and uncomfortably wrong. A tough one to watch for sure. All right, folks, buckle up for this next one. Number 3 on our list, the mic whisper. You know how some people, when they really want to make a point, they get louder? They yell, they thump the podium. Yeah, well, President Biden, he goes the other way. He leans in real close to the microphone, like he's about to tell it a secret it promised never to tell. And then he whispers. Not just once, folks. This became a signature move. It's like, is this a press conference or an ASMR video? I'm half expecting him to start tapping on the mic and crinkling paper. It's a bold choice, I'll give him that. You're there, all these reporters, cameras flashing, the weight of the world on his shoulders. And he's like, hey, come here, let me tell you something. And it's usually about like inflation or infrastructure. Not exactly juicy gossip you'd whisper to your best friend, but he does it with such conviction. You almost lean in yourself, even if you're watching on TV, like, what is it, Joe? What's the big secret? It's a whole new level of presidential communication, I tell you. Forget fireside chats. We're in the era of microphone murmurs. Now, the idea apparently was to emphasize his points. You know, like when your parents would get real quiet and you knew you were in trouble? Maybe that's what he was going for. I'm not mad, America. I'm just, whispers, disappointed in these gas prices. But sometimes, folks, it came off less like emphasis and more like, well, a little unsettling. Like he was sharing a secret that maybe we weren't supposed to hear, even though he was saying it into a microphone broadcasting to millions. The logic is a roller coaster, you guys. It's the kind of thing that if your grandpa did it at Thanksgiving dinner, you'd sort of pat his hand and be like, okay, Gramps, inside voice for the gravy boat discussion maybe. But this is the president on international television. It's just a lot to process. You're waiting for a big booming statement and instead you get this hushed tone. It's like going to a rock concert and the lead singer decides to whisper the chorus of their biggest hit. You'd be like, dude, I can't hear you. Is this part of the show? And the poor reporters. They're there with their pens poised, ready for the big quote, and he's practically cooing into the microphone. Do you lean forward? Do you adjust your headphones? Do you just kind of nod and hope you caught the gist of the whispered policy initiative? It's a real predicament. I bet some of them started bringing those giant ear trumpets, like in old cartoons, just to catch what he was saying. He said, what about the supply chain? Sounded like apply rain to me. The internet, of course, had all sorts of theories. Was it a secret code? Was he trying to lull the opposition into a state of calm? Or maybe, just maybe, he thought the microphones were super sensitive, like, shh, don't startle the mics, they've had a long day. Whatever the reason, it definitely got people talking. Or, well, whispering about the whispering. It's a whole new level of political discourse, really. You've got to give him points for originality, even if it leaves you scratching your head and saying, what was that? You know, it's a moment when the memes start flying, right? And oh boy, did they fly for the Biden whisper. People started putting his whispered audio over like nature documentaries. And here, whispers, we see the majestic eagle in its natural habitat. It just fit perfectly. Or they'd take clips of him whispering and then cut to someone looking incredibly confused or slightly creeped out. The internet is undefeated, folks, truly undefeated. It's like a digital art form, taking something so specific and making it universally funny. It wasn't just one whisper either, it was a whole series. There was the, I got them $1.9 trillion relief whisper. There was the pay your fair share whisper. Each one delivered with that same intense, hushed intimacy. It's like he had a whole album of whispered hits. Biden's bedtime ballads for a better budget coming to a streaming service near you. I'm telling you, if he ever decides to leave politics, he's got a future in ASMR. He could whisper the phone book and people would be like, so soothing yet so informative about the Smiths in my area. But here's the thing, did it actually work to emphasize his points, or did the delivery completely overshadow the? I mean, are people remembering the policy detail he was trying to highlight, or are they just remembering the fact that he sounded like he was trying to order a secret menu item at Starbucks? I'll have a venti latte, whispers, and a little bit of economic recovery if you have it. It's a risky move because people might just focus on the weirdness and not the words. Ultimately, the mic whisper will go down as one of those uniquely Biden-esque things. A little quirky, a little confusing, and definitely memorable. Will future presidents adopt the whisper? Probably not, unless they're trying to be funny. But for a while there, it was the quietest power move in Washington. It made you lean in, even if you weren't quite sure what you were leaning into. And that, my friends, is the magic, or maybe the mystery, of the presidential whisper. It's a real head-scratcher, isn't it? All right, next up, let's talk fashion, folks. Specifically, presidential fashion at the G7 summit. This is blunder number 4, the G7 summit swag. So picture this, it's 2021. President Biden is heading to the G7 summit in the UK. This is a big deal, right? World leaders, serious discussions, global economy, all that jazz. And how does Joe roll up? In a pair of his signature aviator sunglasses, looking, and I mean this in the nicest way, like he just walked off the set of a Top Gun reboot where Maverick is now a slightly bewildered grandpa. I mean, the confidence, you've got to admire it. He's not just wearing them on the plane or walking to the car. Oh, no. He's got these aviators on the official greetings, the photo ops, the whole shebang. Other world leaders are there, you know, shaking hands, looking very diplomatic and serious, and Biden's there like, "Gentlemen, this is Ghost Rider requesting a flyby of the policy agenda." It was a look, a very, very shiny, reflective look. You could probably see your own confused face in his lenses. Now, the brief mentioned he looked like a slightly confused grandpa with an earpiece. And yeah, there was a little bit of that too. The aviators give you that cool, almost detached look, but then if you're also looking a tad unsure of where to stand for the photo, it creates this funny contrast, like a secret agent who's misplaced his mission briefing but is determined to look cool while he finds it. Just act natural, Joe. No one will notice you don't know which one is Macron. And the earpiece, that just adds another layer to the whole ensemble. So you've got the cool aviators, maybe a hint of confusion, and then this little wire going into his ear. Is he getting top secret intel? Is someone reminding him of names? Or is he just listening to his power anthems for world leaders playlist? Okay, Mr. President, after Eye of the Tiger, well, we'll discuss trade tariffs. It's a whole mood, and that mood is stylishly perplexed but ready for anything. Probably the moment that really got people talking was during the handshakes and photo ops. You know, these are carefully choreographed moments. Leaders line up, they shake hands, they smile for the cameras. It's all very precise. And then there's Biden, cool as a cucumber in his shades, maybe giving them a little adjustment while the Prime Minister of Canada is trying to make eye contact. It's like, dude, I can't see your eyes. Are you looking at me? Are you even awake under there? It's a power move, or maybe just a social blind spot. Think about it from the other leader's perspective. You're there trying to discuss serious global issues, and one of the most powerful men in the room is channeling his inner Kenny Loggins. Do you offer him a volleyball? Do you ask if he's seen Iceman lately? It must have been a little distracting. So, about that new trade deal, sees Biden adjust shades. You still with us, Joe? You haven't taken off for the danger zone, have you? It's diplomacy with a dash of Hollywood. So, what did the world think of Aviator Joe at the G7? Well, like anything bold, it got mixed reviews. Some people loved it. They were like, yeah, that's our president. Cool, confident, uniquely American. They saw it as a sign of his personality, his approachable, no-nonsense style. You know, he's not trying to be stuffy, he's just being Joe. And his supporters probably ate it up. That's my guy, keeping it real, even with the Queen probably nearby. Others, well, they were a little more critical. The fashion police were out in full force. Aviators at a formal diplomatic summit, indoors, during introductions. That's a faux pas, Mr. President. They argued it looked disrespectful, or at least a bit too casual for such a high-stakes international gathering. It's like showing up to a state dinner in your favorite comfy sweats. Yeah, they're comfortable, but maybe not the right message to send when you're discussing nuclear proliferation. It's a fine line, folks. And then there's the question of the message it sent. Was it meant to be a power play, like, I'm so cool, I don't even need to take my sunglasses off to negotiate with you? Or was it just He likes his aviators. Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar, and sometimes sunglasses are just sunglasses. But when you're the President of the United States, everything you do, everything you wear gets analysed and overanalyzed. It's part of the job description, right underlaid the free world, and try not to trip on stairs. Ultimately, the G7 aviator moment will be remembered. It's one of those visual blunders, or triumphs, depending on your point of view, that sticks. Will it be in the history books? Maybe a little footnote in the chapter on 21st century diplomatic fashion risks? It certainly gave us something to talk about, and in the world of 24/7 news cycles, maybe that's a win in itself. Plus, you just know sales of aviator sunglasses probably spiked that week. Call it unintentional economic stimulus. All right, moving on to blunder number 5. This one takes us into the complex world of geopolitics, or as it sometimes seems, geo-oops-itics. We're talking about the time President Biden got a little directionally challenged with his countries. Specifically, he was discussing military aid, a pretty serious topic, right? And he started talking about providing aid to Libya. Okay, Libya, got it. But then, wait a minute, the context, the situation, everything pointed to him actually meaning, it's like you're giving directions to your friend and you confidently say, yeah, just take a left at Albuquerque when you're in New York City, and meant to say Albany. It's a small difference in letters, but a huge difference in destination. And when you're talking about war-torn nations and military aid, getting the destination right is, shall we say, pretty important. It's not like you can just reroute a shipment of aid with a quick Siri command. Siri, I meant Syria, not Libya. Now, mixing up countries, especially countries involved in conflict and receiving military aid, is a pretty significant oopsie. As the brief puts it, this isn't like accidentally calling your buddy by his brother's name. This has, international implications. Or at least it have. You don't want the ambassador from Libya calling up saying, so, about that aid you mentioned, when it was really meant for Syria, that's an awkward phone call for everyone involved, let me tell you. It's the kind of mistake that, while perhaps understandable, given the sheer number of things a president has to keep in their head, still makes you wince a little. Because precision in language is pretty key in diplomacy. One wrong word, one wrong country name, and suddenly you've got a minor international incident, or at the very least a whole lot of confused headlines and frantic fact-checking. It's like diffusing a bomb, but you keep calling the red wire the blue wire. Not ideal. The big question is, how does this play on the world stage? Does it make other leaders think, does he really have a grasp on the details, or do they just chalk it up to a long day and a momentary slip? Foreign policy experts probably had a field day analyzing the implications. Was this a Freudian slip? Does it reveal a deeper confusion about US policy in the region? Or maybe, just maybe, he was tired and the LNS keys are, kind of near each other on an imaginary global keyboard in his mind. And you just know his communications team went into overdrive. Okay, people, damage control, issue a clarification. Emphasize that he's Syria. Or was it Libya this time? Someone check the transcript. It's a thankless job sometimes, being the person who has to clean up after a verbal fumble on that scale. It's like being the political equivalent of a caddy who has to find the ball in the really, really deep, rough, muttering, he definitely sliced that one into the next country over. Let's be fair, being president is an incredibly demanding job. You're juggling a million things, 1,000 names, hundreds of countries, complex policies. It's a mental marathon every single day. So can a slip-up like mixing Libya and Syria happen? Sure it can. Human error is a thing, even for the most powerful person on the planet. Maybe he had a briefing on Libya right before the one on Syria, and the wires got crossed. It happens to the best of us when we're just trying to remember our grocery list. But the thing that made this particular gaffe stand out was it wasn't just a single, oops, I meant Syria. It was the back and forth, the seeming uncertainty. That's what elevates it from a simple mistake to a wait, what is happening here moment. It's like if you kept calling your spouse by your ex's name, not once, but multiple times in the same conversation. That's not just a slip anymore. That's a problem you need to address, probably with flowers. Lots of flowers. This kind of confusion, especially over something as critical as military aid to nations in conflict, feeds into narratives. Narratives about competency, about attention to detail, about being on top of your game. And in politics, narrative is everything. It doesn't matter if you correct it later. The image of the confusion can stick. It becomes a go-to clip for critics, a meme for the internet, and a headache for your press secretary. It's the gift that keeps on giving if you're on the other side. So the Libya-Syria shuffle will likely be one of those moments people point to when they talk about Biden's verbal stumbles. It's more serious than, say, mispronouncing a name because it involves actual places with actual complex situations. It's a reminder that even with all the preparation and all the briefings, sometimes the human element just takes over and you end up sending your foreign policy on an unexpected detour. Hopefully the actual aid ended up in the right place, even if the words took a scenic route. All right, folks, so picture this. It's 2020, the election is heating up. It's like a spicy taco, but instead of hot sauce, it's political tension, you know? And Joe Biden, he's doing the rounds, he's on the campaign trail, which, by the way, sounds exhausting. I mean, I get tired walking to the fridge for a La Croix. He decides to hop on The Breakfast Club, the radio show with Charlemagne that god. Now, Charlemagne, he doesn't pull any punches, right? He's known for asking the tough questions, the ones that make guests go, can I get a water, and maybe a different question. It's a big deal interview, lots of people listening, a real chance to connect with a key demographic. You've got to be on your A game, sharp as a tack, ready for anything. So they're chatting, things are flowing, it's a whole vibe. You know how interviews go? Sometimes they're smooth, like jazz. Other times they're like trying to assemble IKEA furniture with no instructions. This one was cruising along and then BAM! Out of nowhere, a moment happens. A real, wait, did I hear that right kind of moment? It's like when you're watching a movie and there's a plot twist so wild you have to rewind it even though you're in the theater and you can't. That's the energy we're talking about here. It's one of those things where the air just kind of changes. 1 minute you're talking policy, the next you're in verbal quicksand, and then the words. Charlemagne is pressing him, you know, about black voters and whether they should feel like to vote for him. And Biden, he leans in and he says, and get this, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black. Whoa. Hold the phone. Did he just... Yes, he did. It was like a mic drop. But instead of applause, it was more like a collective oof. You could almost hear the internet collectively gasp and then immediately start typing. It was a real... Did he just say my quiet part out loud, but like way louder than anyone expected? Kind of deal. My first thought was rewind that. Let's just marinate on that phrase for a second. Then you ain't black. I mean, wow, that's a heavy one. It's like telling someone, if you don't like pineapple on pizza, then you ain't Italian, which, okay, some people might agree with that one, but this is a whole other level, right? It's taking a deeply personal, cultural, historical identity and tying it to a single political choice. It's like your entire heritage, your lived experience, your ancestry, all boiled down to a checkbox on a ballot. Come on, man, that's a bit much, even for campaign season, which is already pretty extra, let's be honest. Now, you try to think, okay, what was the here? Maybe he was trying to be super confident, like, of course, black voters are with me, it's a no-brainer. Or maybe he was trying to be folksy, like, he's just one of the guys speaking plainly. But the road to political gaffes is paved with good intentions, or so I hear. It's like trying to tell a joke that you think is hilarious, but then everyone just stares at you and you hear crickets. And these weren't just any crickets, these were like presidential level crickets. The silence was deafening except for the sound of keyboards clacking furiously across the nation. The problem is, it didn't land as confident or folksy. It landed like a lead balloon. A really, really big lead balloon, a Hindenburg of a political comment, if you will. It came across as presumptuous, to say the least, and to many deeply offensive. Imagine someone telling you what are or aren't based on one opinion you hold. It's like, hey, you don't like my favorite band? Then you ain't a music lover. It just doesn't track, and it definitely doesn't win you any friends. It was a real record scratch freeze frame. Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got into this situation moment for the campaign. And the cringe was palpable. You could feel it through the radio waves, through the internet, probably all the way to the International Space Station. Astronauts up there were probably like, Houston, we have a problem. And it's coming from a radio interview. It was one of those statements where you just know instantly that it's going to be a thing with a capital T. Not just a little oopsie, but a full-blown, we're going to be talking about this for a while kind of gaffe. It's the kind of quote that gets its own Wikipedia entry subsection. You just know it. So, naturally, the internet did what the internet does best. It exploded. It was like someone lit a match in a fireworks factory made of memes and hot takes that Twitter or X or whatever we're calling it this week went into overdrive. People were shocked, some were angry, some were just bewildered. Like, did the man who wants to be president for all Americans just say that? It was a genuine head-scratcher, a real come-again moment that had everyone buzzing. The hashtags were flying. The GIFs were deploying. It was a full-scale digital reaction. And it wasn't just random people on the internet. Oh no, political commentators from all sides jumped in. You had people saying, see, this is what we've been talking about, and others saying, well, it was taken out of context. And then others just saying, dude, no, just no. It became a major talking point, overshadowing whatever else happened in that interview or even that week. It's like wearing a really loud patterned shirt to a wedding. No one remembers the beautiful ceremony, they just remember the shirt. This quote was that shirt, but like a shirt made of controversy. Eventually, Biden had to walk it back, of course. He clarified, he apologized, he said he was probably too cavalier. You think it's like saying the Titanic was a bit too leaky. He tried to smooth it over, saying he understood the concerns and that he shouldn't have been so flip. But the damage, as they say, was done. The quote was out there, living its own life, being replayed and reanalyzed ad nauseum. It's hard to put the toothpaste back in the tube, especially when the toothpaste is now a viral soundbite. It's a tough spot for any candidate. And that's the thing, it became one of those gaffes, the kind that sticks. It was a prime example of trying perhaps to connect, to be relatable, but overshooting the runway by a few thousand miles and ending up in a completely different airport, in a country where they don't speak your language. It served as a big flashing neon sign reminder. When you're running for the highest office, every word matters, especially when you're talking about something as sensitive and personal as race and identity. Choose your words wisely, folks. Very, very wisely. Or you'll end up in a YouTube video like this one. All right, so we all forget names sometimes, right? You run into someone at the grocery store, you know them, but your brain is just like, file not found, try again later, or never. It happens to the best of us. But when you're the President of the United States and the name you're forgetting or are creatively reassigning belongs to your own Vice President, that's a whole other level of oopsie. We're talking, of course, about the times Joe Biden has referred to Vice President Kamala Harris as President Harris. Dun dun dun. It hasn't just been a one-time slip, like a Freudian slip, but for job titles. No, this has happened multiple times. Multiple. It's like his brain just defaults to president when he sees her, which I guess is kind of a compliment. Maybe she's got presidential qualities, or maybe it's just really, really confusing for everyone involved. Imagine being Kamala Harris in that moment. You're standing there, smiling, and then your boss basically gives you a promotion on live TV that you didn't know about. Thanks for the vote of confidence, Joe, but I think we need to check the org chart. Think about the awkwardness. She's right there. It's not like he's talking about a historical figure. She's literally a few feet away, probably thinking, okay, just smile and nod. Don't make it weird. Oh wait, it's already weird. It's like calling your wife by your mum's name. There's just no good way out of that one, fellas. It's a tough look, especially when you're trying to project an image of a united, well-oiled political machine. Instead, it gives off vibes of, are we sure who's driving this thing? Is there a map? And of course the internet, our trusty friend, had a field day. Memes popped up faster than you can say accidental promotion. You had people joking. Kamala Harris getting promoted faster than I get a reply to my emails. Others were like, is this a soft launch for the next campaign? It became a running gag, a little recurring bit in the ongoing sitcom of politics. Every time it happened, you could almost hear the collective groan and then the frantic typing of late-night TV writers. He did it again. But it's not just domestic colleagues getting the name swap treatment. Oh no, Joe Biden's creative nomenclature extends globally. He's taken the name game international, folks. We've seen him stumble over the names of foreign leaders, sometimes mashing them together, sometimes seemingly inventing new ones on the spot. It's like he's playing a game of diplomatic Mad Libs, but without the fun adjectives and nouns, just confusion. And I'd like to thank Prime Minister Macaroni of Italy. Close, Joe, close, but no cigar or cannoli. Imagine being one of those world leaders. You've flown thousands of miles, you're there for serious talks about global security or trade, and the leader of the free world calls you by a name that sounds vaguely like a character from a children's cartoon. Yes, Mr. President, it's Chancellor Scholz, not Mr. Schnitzel. It has to be a little disarming, right? You're trying to maintain diplomatic decorum, and meanwhile, you're wondering if you should just wear a giant name tag next time. Hello, my name is... Please read carefully. You have to wonder about the prep that goes into these meetings. Do they have flashcards? Okay, Joe, this is President Macron of France. Not MacGuffin, not Macaroon Macron. Are there frantic aides in the wings mouthing the names like they're in a game of charades? It's Rishi. Rishi! Not Ricky, not Richie. It's got to be stressful for the staff. They probably have a pool going for how many names will be creatively interpreted in any given international summit. The pressure is immense. It's like going to a fancy dinner party and the host keeps calling you Brenda when your name is Susan and you've corrected them 3 times. At some point you just give up and become Brenda for the night. Sure, I'm Brenda. Pass the mashed potatoes. New best friend who doesn't know my name. Except, with higher stakes. Like nuclear codes and international treaties kind of stakes. So yeah, getting the names right is probably a little important. Now, let's be fair, who among us hasn't blanked on a name? I once called my own dog by my old dog's name for a week. He was very confused. And a little offended, I think. So it happens. The human brain is a weird and wonderful thing, but sometimes it just decides to take a coffee break at the most inconvenient moments. Especially when you have to remember like a gazillion names. Presidents meet a lot of people. I meet a lot of people backstage, and sometimes I'm like, hey, you. So a little empathy maybe, but then again, these aren't just random acquaintances at a barbecue. These are key figures. His own vice president, leaders of major global powers. It's kind of part of the job description, right? Must be able to lead the country, make tough decisions, and ideally remember the name of the person sitting next to you in cabinet meetings. It's like a quarterback forgetting the name of his star receiver. All right, throw it to that guy, number something. Not exactly inspiring confidence in the huddle, You just know the White House communications team has a special protocol for this. The Name Gaff Rapid Response Unit, they probably have pre-written statements. The president deeply values his relationship with Prime Minister, insert corrected name here, and regrets the minor verbal stumble. They're like the pit crew in a NASCAR race, but instead of changing tires, they're fixing nomenclature on the fly. It must be an adventure every single day. What name will he creatively interpret today? Place your bets. So, Joe, my man, we get it. Names can be tricky, but maybe some mnemonic devices. Kamala has a capital K for kicking butt as VP. Or perhaps just giant billboard-sized name tags for everyone he meets. Or, here's a thought, just stick with my good friend for everyone. It's generic, it's friendly, and it's hard to mess up. I'd like to welcome my good friend from that place. See? Problem solved. You're welcome, America. I'll send my consulting bill later. Okay, so the speech is over, nailed it, the crowd is applauding, the teleprompter is blank, mission accomplished, right? Time to make a smooth, confident exit. But hold on, folks, because sometimes, with President Biden, this is where the real adventure begins. It's the post-speech perambulation, the where do I go now, shuffle. He finishes his remarks, waves, and then he starts to wander. It's like he's looking for an invisible exit sign, or maybe he misplaced his keys and he's pretty sure they're somewhere on stage left. You see him turn one way, then pause. Not that way. Then he turns another way. Nope, not there either. Sometimes there's a little half-turn, a contemplative look into the middle distance, as if he's receiving directions from a GPS only he can hear. Recalculating route. Please make a U-turn if possible. It's endearing in a lost grandpa at the mall kind of way, but also a little bit, Mr. President, the exit is right there. Yes, the one with the Secret Service guys waving frantically. It's a whole little mini-drama after the main event. And the pointing. Oh, the pointing is a classic. He'll point to someone or something off in the distance. But there's no one there. Or if there is, they're definitely not visible to the cameras. Is it a secret signal? Is he acknowledging a friendly ghost? Hey, Casper, thanks for coming. Or maybe he's just really, really committed to audience interaction, even if the audience member is a figment of stage lighting. It's a mystery that has baffled political analysts and body language experts for years now. What does the pointing mean? Then there's the wave, a friendly wave, a presidential wave. But sometimes he waves to, well, to nobody in particular. He'll wave to an empty section of the room or to the curtains or just to the general concept of out there. It's like he's making sure even the inanimate objects feel included. Hello, drapery. You're looking lovely today. It's all part of the signature Biden exit strategy, which seems to be less of a strategy and more of an improvisational dance performance titled Finding the Door. It's become a predictable, yet always slightly surprising, part of his public appearances. It's not just wandering. Sometimes there's interaction, or at least the appearance of interaction. President Biden has been known to extend a hand for a handshake when there's no one there to shake it. It's like he's on a goodwill tour of an invisible dimension. Great to meet you, Mr. Air. Your support means a lot. He'll reach out, grasp phantom hands, offer a firm shake and a presidential nod. You half expect him to pull out a Sharpie and sign an invisible autograph. It's a performance for an audience only he can perceive, apparently. Is it an old habit from decades on the campaign trail where you're constantly shaking hands? Maybe his muscle memory just kicks in. Speech over, must shake hands, even if the nearest hand is his own. Or perhaps he's just an incredibly friendly guy, so eager to connect that he'll connect with the very atmosphere around him. Don't want the oxygen molecules to feel left out, you know. They're important too. It's a level of inclusivity that most of us can only dream of achieving. He's literally making friends with his surroundings. Imagine being a Secret Service agent in that situation. Your job is to protect the president, but also presumably to help him navigate. Do you gently nudge him? Mr. President, the corporeal beings are this way, or do you just let him have his moment with his ethereal acquaintances? He seems to be having a nice chat with that potted plant. Let's give him a minute. It must be a very unique set of challenges for the security detail. Protect from threats, visible and apparently invisible. That's a tough gig. It's kind of like when you're on a phone call with earbuds in and you're talking animatedly and someone walks by and thinks you're talking to them. Awkward. But then you point to your ear and it's all good. With Biden, there are no earbuds. He's just out there seemingly having a full-blown meet and greet with Casper the friendly ghost and his entire extended family. It's a curious phenomenon, one that adds another layer of unpredictability to his public appearances. The contrast is pretty striking, isn't it? He'll deliver this powerful, significant speech, laying out policy, addressing the nation, the whole commander-in-chief deal. And then seconds later, he looks like he's searching for his car in a massive parking lot after a 3-hour concert. Now, where did I park Air Force One? I know it was around here somewhere. It's a shift in gears that can be a little jarring, from presidential gravitas to which way to the men's room in the blink of an eye. Of course, moments like these don't go unnoticed. For critics, it feeds into narratives about his age, his fitness for office, his awareness. They point to it and say, see, he's lost. He doesn't know where he is. And optically, yeah, it's not the strongest look when the leader of the free world seems unsure how to get off a stage he's been on for the last half hour. It provides easy fodder for late-night jokes and critical news segments. It's the kind of visual that can stick in people's minds for better or worse. Mostly worse, if we're being honest, for his team. But maybe there's a simpler explanation. Maybe, just maybe, after giving a long speech under hot lights, he's just a little disoriented, or perhaps he's genuinely looking for someone specific in the crowd, a staffer, a family member, or, and this is my personal favorite theory, maybe he's just looking for the snack table. I was promised cookies after this. Where are the cookies? Don't tell me Higgins got to them first. That guy is a cookie monster. It's a plausible scenario, right? A man's got to eat. Whatever the reason, the wandering exit has become something of a Biden trademark. It's like his version of a mic drop, but instead of dropping the mic, he just sort of drifts. And now for my next trick, I shall attempt to locate stage left. Wish me luck, folks. It's a little bit of presidential playtime, a dash of Where's Waldo White House edition. You watch, you wonder, and you wait to see if he finds his way, or if Jill has to come out with a map and a guiding hand. Bless his heart. All right, folks, coming in at number 9, it's a classic, a real head-scratcher. We're talking about those moments, you know, when you're trying to remember what day it is after a long weekend, except this is the President of the United States, and sometimes it seems like the calendar itself is playing tricks on him. We've all been there. Maybe you write down the wrong year on a check in January. Remember checks? Yeah, me neither. But when you're leading the free world, knowing the current year or even the decade is kind of sort of pretty important, you guys. It's like, is it 2023, 2024, or are we back in the 80s? Because I've got my leg warmers ready if we are. It's not just a one-off thing either. There have been a few instances, just a few little moments where President Biden seems to be momentarily unstuck in time, like a character in a sci-fi movie trying to figure out which timeline he's landed in. He might be giving a speech, totally nailing it, and then boom, a date pops out that has everyone in the audience doing a quick Google search on their phones. You can almost hear the collective, wait, what? It's like he's got a DeLorean parked out back and he's just come from a totally different era. Great Scott, Marty, we have to get back to the correct fiscal year. You see the faces in the crowd, right? That little polite confusion, the slight tilt of the head, did I hear that right? Expression, it's a whole mood. And the poor sign language interpreters, they're just trying to keep up, probably thinking, okay, are we going with dates or the date here, folks? Because my hands are getting confused. It's one of those things that's funny in a, oh, bless his heart kind of way, but also makes you go, it really makes you wonder what's going on just behind the curtain, you know? Are there post-it notes everywhere backstage? It's Tuesday, Joe, and look, we all make mistakes. I forget where I put my keys like 10 times a day. Sometimes they're in my hand. But when you're the president, these little chronological oopsies can become, well, a bit more than just a funny anecdote. They become part of the narrative, part of the story. It's like, hey, if he's a little fuzzy on the year, what else might be a little fuzzy? It's not just about remembering a date. It's about projecting that sense of being on top of every single detail, which, let's be honest, is a superhuman task for anyone. But still, the calendar, it's a tricky beast, even for the most powerful man in the world. Okay, so it's not just about what year it is, folks. Sometimes it's about what in those years. You know, history, big subject, lots of dates, lots of names, lots of events. And for a president, having a good grasp of history, both recent and not so recent, is pretty crucial, right? You're making decisions based on past events. You're talking to world leaders about stuff that happened. It's all connected. It's like trying to bake a cake without knowing if you're making a chocolate one or a vanilla one. The ingredients matter, the recipe matters. You don't want to accidentally put salt where sugar should go. And sometimes, just sometimes, it seems like President Biden might be working from a slightly different history textbook than the rest of us. He might be talking about a significant event, a really important moment, and then a detail will slip out that makes historians everywhere spit out their coffee. Wait, he said country was involved or policy was enacted? It's like watching a movie you know really well, and suddenly a character says a line from a completely different film. You're like, hold up, that's not how I remember it. It's a real record scratch moment, you know? The fact checkers, oh my gosh, the fact checkers must have a dedicated hotline for these moments. Their fingers are probably permanently glued to their keyboards, ready to type at lightning speed. Sources say, actually, Mr. President, it was the other thing. It's a tough gig, keeping track of all the facts and figures when you're in the spotlight like that. And when a historical detail gets a little creative, shall we say, it can lead to some serious head-scratching. People start to wonder if they missed a major historical rewrite, or if maybe, just maybe, someone got their notes a little mixed up before the big speech. It's more than just a trivia game, though. When you're talking about global events or national policies, getting the details right really matters. It can affect how people understand the present, how they view the past. It's like if I came out here and said the Roots were originally a polka band from Switzerland. Questlove would be like, Jimmy, what are you about? It changes the whole story, doesn't it? So while it might provide a moment of, huh? These historical flubs can have a ripple effect, making everyone double-check their own timelines, which, hey, maybe isn't such a bad thing after all. Education, people. So, when you put all these little moments together, the date mix-ups, the historical oopsies, the factual fumbles, you start to get what the kids call a highlight reel. Or maybe in this case, what was that again? Reel. It's like a blooper reel, but instead of tripping over a prop, it's tripping over a fact or a year. And let me tell you, the internet is undefeated when it comes to compiling these things. They've got the clips, they've got the slow motion, they've got the dramatic music. It's a whole production, really. You could sell tickets, and each little instance on its own might be easy to brush off. Oh, he misspoke. Oh, a slip of the tongue. Happens to the best of us, right? I've called Questlove Higgins by mistake, don't ask. But when these moments start to stack up, they create a pattern, a narrative that people latch onto. It's like one drop of rain is nothing, but a whole bunch of drops. And suddenly you're looking for an umbrella, or in this case, maybe a fact-checking intern with a very loud voice and a bullhorn. Sir, it was 1945, sir. You got a feel for the speechwriters and the prep team, though. Can you imagine? They probably spend hours, days, crafting the perfect message, checking every single fact, triple underlining the important dates. They hand over the script, everything's perfect, and then plot twist. It's like baking a beautiful, intricate cake, and then someone accidentally sits on it right before the party. All that hard work, and then one little ad-lib or a momentary blank, and it's all anyone's talking about. It's the pressure of live TV, folks, but on a global scale. Ultimately, this lands on the list because for the Commander-in-Chief, being perceived as sharp, informed, and on top of the details is, well, kind of the whole job description, isn't it? It's about confidence, not just for the country, but for the world watching. So when dates get fuzzy or facts go astray, it creates these little chinks in the armor. It's human, sure, we're all human, but it's also a reminder that even the most prepared can have a "where am I, what am I doing" moment. And when it happens on the world stage, everyone's got their popcorn ready. All right, moving on to number 10. This one, oh boy, this one is a legend. It's a cautionary tale for anyone who's ever had to read off a script. We're talking about the teleprompter, folks. That magical screen that helps speakers look so smooth, so polished, like they've memorized a 40-page speech. It's the unsung hero of many a public address. Think about it. Every president, every news anchor, even me sometimes, we rely on that scrolling text to keep us on track. It's supposed to be invisible, seamless, like a secret helper whispering the lines. It's designed to be foolproof, right? The words just glide by, you read them, you sound brilliant. What could possibly go wrong? It's technology, it's progress. No more fumbling with note cards, no more awkward pauses while you try to remember what comes next. The teleprompter is your friend, your guide, your silent partner in rhetorical excellence. It's like having the answers to the test written on the inside of your glasses, but, legally. And for the most part, it works beautifully, creating an illusion of effortless eloquence that we've all come to expect from our leaders. But every now and then, folks, every now and then, the curtain gets pulled back, the magic trick is revealed, and we, the audience, get a little peek behind the scenes, a glimpse of the mechanics. It's like when you see a magician's assistant accidentally trip and reveal the hidden compartment. You're not supposed to see that. And in the world of presidential speeches, a teleprompter gaffe is the ultimate oops. You weren't supposed to see that moment. It reminds us that, yes, there's a script, and yes, someone is reading it very, very carefully, or sometimes a little too carefully, and that brings us to this particular gem. A moment so perfectly awkward, so unbelievably literal, it's gone down in the history books of political blunders. So picture this. President Biden is at the podium, delivering a speech. The cameras are rolling, the world is watching, the teleprompter is dutifully scrolling away with the words he needs to say. He's in the zone, hitting his points. Everything seems to be going according to plan. He's quoting someone, making an important point, building up to a key message. We're all leaning in, listening intently. You know how it is. You're expecting a powerful conclusion to the thought, a real zinger, perhaps, or at least the end of the sentence. And then it happens. He finishes the quote, and seamlessly, without missing a beat, without even a slight hesitation, he says, clear as day, End of quote. Repeat the line. Wait, what? Did he just read the stage directions? Yes, he did. He read the instructions meant to follow out loud for everyone to hear. It was like an actor on stage accidentally saying, "Character exits stage left," looking thoughtful. You don't say that part out loud, man. That's the inner monologue of the script. The silence in the room must have been deafening for a split second, followed by the frantic sound of journalists typing and tweeting. Did he realize what he said? Did he just power through it, hoping no one would notice? It's hard to say. He just kept going, like a true professional, or perhaps like someone who genuinely thought that was part of the speech. And for my next trick, I shall read the punctuation. Comma, exclamation point. It was a moment of pure, unadulterated, unintentional comedy gold. You couldn't write it better if you tried. It was just so literal. Repeat the line. And what did he do? Well, he didn't repeat the line. He read the instruction, repeat the line. It's a subtle distinction, but a hilarious one. It's like telling your GPS recalculating out loud every time it says it. The sheer deadpan delivery of it, that's what really sells it. No wink, no nod, just pure commitment to whatever was written on that screen. It was a masterclass in obedience, if nothing else. The teleprompter said it, he believed it, and that settles it. And folks, the internet did what the internet does best. It exploded. Within minutes, maybe even seconds, the clip was everywhere. Biden says, repeat the line. It was trending, it was memed, it was remixed. People were adding their own repeat the line moments to videos. It was a cultural phenomenon, a blip in a speech that became an iconic gaffe. It's like when a song has that one weird lyric everyone remembers. This was the weird lyric of presidential speeches for that year. The comparisons were instant and glorious. Everyone, and I mean immediately thought of one man, Ron Burgundy, Anchorman. I'm Ron Burgundy, go F yourself, San Diego. You know the scenes. The man who would read literally anything, and I mean, that was put on the teleprompter. I will read whatever is on that teleprompter. And suddenly art was imitating life, or life was imitating art. And it was all hilariously blurring together. You just knew Will Ferrell was somewhere watching it, nodding and saying, "See, I told you." It became shorthand for any kind of teleprompter mishap, or just blindly following instructions. Oh, he pulled a Biden. Or, careful, don't read the repeat the line part. It's one of those blunders that's so specific, so unique, it just sticks in your brain. It's not just a misstatement, it's a fundamental misunderstanding of how the tool works, even if just for a fleeting moment. It's like trying to use a hammer to stir your coffee. Wrong tool, or rather wrong of the tool, still gets the job done maybe? No, definitely not, but you know, it also humanizes them a little bit, doesn't it? In a weird way, it shows that even the President of the United States, with all the resources and all the help, can have a moment where they just read the instructions. It's a reminder that they're relying on these aids. And sometimes the aids can lead you down a very funny, very public garden path. So, end of quote, repeat the line. A classic for the ages, a true Hall of Famer in the world of political bloopers. You just gotta laugh. And there you have it, folks. That was our countdown of Joe Biden's top 10 presidential blunders, according to us here at Ranked and Revealed. What a ride, huh? From staircase stumbles to teleprompter tribulations, it just goes to show that being the President of the United States means you're always just one gaffe away from becoming the next viral meme. It's a tough job, the toughest job, and hey, nobody's perfect, right? Even the leader of the free world can provide us with some unforgettable moments of unintentional comedy. It keeps things interesting, that's for sure. But wait, there's more. You didn't think those were the moments, did you? Oh, no. We had to narrow it down to 10, which was harder than trying to explain TikTok to your grandparents. Let me tell you, we've got a whole list of honourable mentions that almost made the cut. Think of them as the understudies, waiting in the wings, ready for their moment in the blunder spotlight. Maybe we'll do a part 2. Biden blunders the deep cuts. You'll have to stick around to find out what other gems we've unearthed from the archives of awkward. So, if you found yourself cringing, laughing, or maybe even experiencing some serious second-hand embarrassment watching this list, and come on, we know you did, it's okay, we did too, then do us a favor and smash that thumbs up button. Let us know you felt our pain, or our joy, or whatever that feeling is when you see someone in a super important position have a super relatable oops moment. It helps us know what kind of chaos you want to see more of, and believe me, there's plenty more chaos where that came from, folks. And hey, while you're down there clicking things, why not hit that subscribe button too? And ring the little bell so you don't miss out on any of our future countdowns and deep dives. We're ranked and revealed, and we're all about bringing you the most talked about, most eyebrow-raising and most entertaining lists on the internet. From political pratfalls to pop culture phenomena, we rank it, we reveal it, and hopefully we make you laugh along the way. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time for more Countdown Crazy.